Hello everybody, this is Antonio again with another short video, another project that I had on my house, and I wanted to show you guys how to do this or how to fix this. So what ended up happening is, this is a toilet as you can see. That's the water supply that comes into the toilet. Well, one day we came in to use the bathroom and we noticed a little puddle of water down here. Well, what ended up happening is this hose was leaking here. I kind of tried it up and it worked for some time, but then it started leaking again. So potentially the issue is that this gasket here or somewhere in here, the hose was damaged. So what I ended up doing is I ended up changing the hose. But when I took off the hose, even though I closed the valve, I noticed that the water was still coming out. Now, obviously, at this point, you want to make sure there's no water left over on the pipe. But even after that was done, water was still coming out. So obviously there's something going on also with the valve here. Now this is the whole setup. This is already changed. What I ended up doing is I got one of these click turns. I think that's what they call. And that's the first thing I ended up using. This is a stainless steel braided. That's the best way to go. From here to here, you want to measure. This one was 8.5 inches. They do make a 9-inch one, but that's just too close. You want to have a little bit of a curve here. That's what the experts recommend. So what I end up doing is I got a 12-inch, I think it was 12 inches, and that way that gives me enough space where I can curl this off a little bit or maneuver it how you want it, but you have a little bit of a curve there. So once you put it in here, the new one, like this one here, it clicks like a gas can, like a gas tank lid for your car. So it clicks once it's tight. Then to remove this, you gotta see which kind you have. Now there's multiple different kinds. This one was a compression one, so meaning the way this one works is you have this nut here, and you have to basically get a pipe wrench, hold it here, get a crescent wrench here, and you can open it, and then eventually after you turn it a few times, this thing comes off. Now inside you're gonna left with obviously this nut, and then it's gonna have a little ring, and that's what they call a compression ring, or it's like a metal. It's like made out of copper, and that's what basically seals it here. So there's no water leaking through here. So when you take this off, the old one, you're gonna have this, of course, here. Then you're gonna have the gasket in there, the metal gasket. I think, like I said, is I think it's copper. So what I ended up doing is I had a little bit of trouble pulling it out. They sell a tool that you can use to pull that out because you don't want to mess this up. You don't want to be forcing this up and down or yanking it out or in and out, because you're gonna mess it up inside, and that's gonna be a whole issue. You don't want to do that. You want to be really careful. You're not bending or messing up this pipe here, because as you can see, there's not a lot of room here. When the plumbers, they install it originally, it is pretty typical. They don't leave a lot out, so you can work with. So when I took out the old one, there was a little bit of a ring in here. Like I said, a sealing ring. It was stuck because it has been corroded, the copper. Now, one thing you could do if that's the case and you cannot remove it, even using the tool, you can just get a pipe cutter and cut. Trying to make it cut as less as possible, obviously, because you don't have a lot of room to work with here. Personally, I didn't have to cut it. What I ended up doing is I noticed there was some corrosion in front of the ring, so I got some sandpaper and I sanded it down enough where I was able to pull it out without having to cut the pipe. That's what I would recommend you to do first. If it's so stuck in there that you cannot change it or pull it out, then you might have to cut the pipe. But to put this back in there, once you do all that, you can change this plate also. My plate that I had before was really rough shape. It was very old. This house was built in 96. So obviously that has been there for over 20 years. And that was already corroded and it was nasty looking, just like the whole valve. But either way, I had to change it because it was leaking. So another thing I want to mention is those valves, you can repair them, I've heard, but I'd rather, for the price and everything, I'd rather just change the whole thing. So once you pull out the old one, pull out the ring that is in there, change the plate. So obviously the plate goes first, then this nut here goes in there first, then put the compression ring in there. You take the valve, of course, you slide it in there, then you start tightening this up. You don't have to use any kind of, for all the videos I saw and other recommendations, you don't even have to use any kind of Teflon or plumber's pipe, putty. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. So you don't have to actually use none of that. I did not use none of that, and as you can see, there's no leaks or nothing. I've heard some people recommending, if you have a leak for whatever reason, you could use some plumber's pipe putty. I keep saying pipe. Plumber's putty. You can use that, but so far it's not necessary. So again, you just type it in there. Make sure now that you have the new one on, you want to use a rag or something so you don't mess up the finish. I did a little bit here, and I still used a rag, but otherwise it would probably be worse. But make sure this is in place like this, and then tighten them up all the way. You don't have to extremely time these. A few turns is more than enough. Sorry about that. My dog started barking. I had to pause the video. But so how I was saying, you want to give this a few turns, and that's more than enough. Okay. I ended up changing this one for a quarter turn, so that way that's off, that's on. The old ones you have to probably give it 5 or 6 turns to completely close. This one you don't have to do that anymore because it has a little ball valve in here, or a little ball, and that seals it. So one turn opens it, the other one closes it, and that's it. The old ones that you have to twist it multiple times, basically what ended up happening is they had a seal, and it will press against here. That's how it shut off the water, and you have to turn it multiple times. But this is the best way to go. The whole process here, this probably cost me maybe about $20, I would say. I believe this was like $6. This was probably like $10, and I think this was like $3. So all in all here, you got about $20, and it's basically the best of the best you can use. But I hope you found this video helpful. And again, this only applies to compression valves. They make some that are subtle in there. Those are old school. I don't even know if the plumbers still do that. And then they have another one which especially is better if you don't have a lot of room, which are basically the shark bites. I think that's what they call them. So it's a shark bite, the brand, but you press them in. I think they're press-ons or something like that. So you just press it in there, and it clamps here. So those are much easier than even this one here. But again, thank you for watching. Hopefully this video was helpful to you. If you guys have any questions, you can post them in the comment section. And other than that, thank you for watching. Have a good day.